#Real Race Talk. It's the Revved Up Sports Show talking local, regional, and national action. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Happy Monday. Welcome in, friends. It is time for #Real Race Talk. It is the Revved Up Sports Show diving in live. Once again, the Revved Up LIVECAST on Monday. Bobby Chaffee over there on your right side, depending on how you're looking at this. I'm over on the left side. My name is Rodney Rodriguez. We're diving in for another night of action and lots to talk about on the program tonight. Coming up at 6:45, Jason Bellows is going to join us from the Lone Star Dwarf Car Club. We'll talk to him. Ray Doyon coming up at 7:30 or so. We'll talk about I-37, their schedule, and everything that they're getting ready to do out there for another banner year happening over in Pleasanton. But we dive in, and there's lots to talk about. We can talk about short track racing, all the different things. We can talk about Cordele and all the changes and everything happening there, schedule modifications and all that. And we're going to talk some mainstream tonight, Bobby. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't give a shit about NASCAR and especially Formula One, but I'm going down that road. First and foremost, how are you, my man?
Just another year older, dude. That's all. Just hanging out on a Monday, just kind of chilling out and trying to enjoy myself. But other than that, trying to get my new technology working. Hopefully, I'm not too terribly loud this week because I got a new microphone and new headset. So
that's right. Hopefully,
that will. But
no, that's okay. That's okay. Hopefully, all of you had the chance to talk or get Bobby a Facebook message and get him a happy birthday as he turns another year young. Bobby now. What are you now? 24, 3,
25.
Ah, damn, man! I tell you, man, you're getting younger. I mean, you're doing the reverse of me. I swear. Every day I get older, and you just keep getting younger, dude. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what kind of life you're living, but I'm doing it the wrong way because, dude, I'm going the fucking wrong opposite way. I can tell you that for crying out loud.
All right, I think it's the beard. If I shave my beard, I'd look. We'll have to see.
I went and got a haircut the other day. We were doing the Bryan Adams concert on Thursday night over at Moody Center. And I went, so it was kind of a date night. And it was a date night. We don't get that very often. So I went and I cut my hair and I was like, holy shit, I look a lot better. But Bobby, I've got to tell you, by the way, there's that QR code. You guys can scan that. Takes you right to the Revved Up site. Did some modifications. The web folks were actually doing some stuff yesterday, as a matter of fact, where they went in there. You can go up to the top and click that, and it takes you right to the show that's live. But I mean, that's one way to do it. But if you go to the middle to where the replay usually is, you go there, and that some bitch is live right there right now. So you can actually go there and wait for that to come on, and boom, there it is. I'll tell you, them web folks have been working. Bobby, since I got back, dude, this is so crazy. So since I got back from Mississippi for the work thing, we haven't had any hot water. I've been taking cold showers for a week and a half. Tracy and Chloe that is here with us, I mean, they go to their friends and they do warm showers and whatever. Dude, I just been doing cold showers. I mean, I do cold showers quite often, but that's a different story. But, dude, last night I turned the shower on and the fucking water came out hot. It's like, oh my God. It was like orgasmic, dude. The hot water, the shit you don't think about, dude.
Just a little thing you take for granted, right? A little bit of hot water. What did your water heater? What happened?
So here's what happened, and it's a shitty story as to what actually happened right here. So we had a roof replacement that was done about when I was in Pensacola. I was in Pensacola when that happened. So since then, I've had to replace the upstairs air conditioning unit or whatever. You know, they beat the hell out of the house when they're changing the stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrical outlets that don't work. And then that happened. And apparently what happened is the top valve that goes to the top of the water heater, they broke that. And there was a way to make it work at different points. But then my pan, the water heater pan gets full of water. And I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. Well, turns out when they did the shingles on top, they left a little bit of a gap right there. So what happens when that valve is gone and you got a little bit of a gap in the shingles? Straight down in the pan. Holy smoke. But hey, new water heater, it's all done. I had a great shower. Great shower last night, my man. It felt so good.
Better than some of them roach coaches we stay at on occasion on the road. So with no hot water. So
yeah, I think that's the whole thing with me, because the wife is like, so why don't cold showers bother you? I'm like, babe, this is nothing. I said, this is nothing. I'm used to this kind of stuff. I mean, it's not that big a deal. So anyway, so that's my life story. All of that is good. And like I said, happy birthday. You guys feel free to jump on that chat right there and wish Bobby a happy birthday. Tim Sewell checking in right there already. The buttless cutlass on its way. Tim posted something on the one of his page where he said he was putting a body on a car, and it's one of those buttless cutlass that I like to call it. And he said, "Man, this is a pain in the butt." I said, "That's a pain in the buttless cutlass." By the way, speaking of buttless cutlass, so the other night when I'm at the Bryan Adams concert, I'm walking out of there. Guess who's over there working, all dressed up, looking good? Get one guess. Guess who's over there looking totally legit and like a legitimate bouncer or ticket person?
Oh, bouncer this time. I have no idea. Bryan Adams. Well, it wouldn't matter about the genre because it would have just been working.
Yeah. It was just it was nothing about the genre, but I walk out and you'd never guess.
I have no idea.
One guess. Just random person. Just think.
Dale Caswell.
Close. AJ Dancer. We're walking out of there. Him and Brenda do all that over at Coda, and I'm walking out, and we're cruising along, and I'm a little loopy at that point. They sell that $15 Mick Ultra, and I hear Rodney Rodriguez, and I'm like, holy shit, what now? The bill collector found me. I looked over. There's AJ, all cleaned up, dressed, shirt tucked in. I'm like, oh my God, look at this guy, man. That's how he makes his money, man. That's how he makes his money, doing cool shit like that.
I guess you get all the free shows, right? And get throw people out that are assholes. That's kind of a fun time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's already one birthday wish right there. Happy birthday from Ryan Miller, dropping right there to you, Bobby. Like I said, coming up is Jason Bellows coming up here in just a little bit. But first, why didn't we run the Clash today? We should have run the Clash today. Did you look at the weather in LA? Dude, it's like perfect. We should have raced today.
Yeah, with that, did you see the monsoons yesterday? The mudslides and shit today. And then not only that, it's all the way coming back too. Those poor hauler drivers, man, they got out just in the nick of time because it's screwed up all the way in. You're going to see flooding in Vegas, and it's not going to be very pretty for the Super Bowl this week.
Oh man, I saw that, and I have to applaud NASCAR quite a bit for the fact that they were able to pull that off. I saw some rumblings on Saturday afternoon that was going to happen. I'd actually planned to do a dirty air thing, and then I got a call from somebody, and they're like, I think we're going to race tonight. So I kind of put that on hold. But I mean, I really did with that, Bobby, and I tweeted this out, and of course I got all beat up for it, whatever. NASCAR with the COVID thing. That was one thing what they overcame, but damn it, what they pulled off the other night. I know there weren't people in the stands, and still people are bitching. There's nobody in the crowd. Well, fuck, it's 24 hours before it's supposed to be, and it's free. Give them a break.
It's 3 hours before they announced it, dude.
I know.
They announced it at 3, started racing at 6.
Yeah, I know. And, and it was still, I mean, they probably had 25K in there. I mean, that place seats what, 60, 70,000? I mean, it's
probably 80, actually.
And I was listening to Dave Moody and some of those folks on the Channel 90 today, and they were talking about, where all the fans that lost out on their money, they're already getting refunded. I mean, I know folks that signed up for Coke Fest that haven't gotten their money back yet. But, I mean, they're already getting their money back. I mean, come on. Cut them some slack, man. That was a ballsy move right there that they were able to pull off, I think.
Well, I think because it's not a points race, I think is what makes the difference on that. Had it been an actual points race, I think their hands would have been a little bit tied. We've seen them do whatever the hell they want to do for any of these exhibition races. Backup cars out for the All-Star race, all kind of stuff where you haven't been able to see them, see the normal show. So I think that's the way that the exhibition races work. Had it been a points race, I think it'd have been a little different story.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it would have been, and I think they really did just want to get that in. But the Mexico race, if you did not watch that, I mean that's how you do it right there. I mean that's how you do it. It's a totally different car. I mean those cars are better. They're more apt at being able to race. Those cars are very racy, and it was a very good race won by Daniel Suarez. And our man Milton Hope checking in. Congratulations to Taylor Swift at the Grammys last night. First one to win Album of the Year 4 times, I think, did Miss Taylor Swift. No Travis Kelce. Then I love how she always acts surprised. It's like, Taylor Swift, and she's like, come on, man.
They didn't give it to Beyonce after Jay-Z's speech?
No, they did not. But hey, man, I'm a Miley Cyrus guy. I always joke around with you guys and on our texts all the time where I'm like, my kids grew up and they loved Miley Cyrus.
They liked Hannah, not Miley Cyrus.
They liked, my kids grew up and loved Miley Cyrus or Hannah Montana. And I always say, Miley Cyrus grew up and I love her. And she did a hell of a performance last night, by the way, with all that.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a hell of a performance last night.
Good stuff.
For white noise than anything else, but I didn't recognize half the people or knew who the hell half the people were. So I had the same problem. I had the same problem with the CMAs. So
I know, me too. Contemporary Music Awards. I mean, I know when they start doing, I mean, a lot of that, I have to say, the one thing was because it was last night, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give in to the family. I'm supposed to watch a class. The class isn't happening. The class already happened. I'm going to sit down with the family and I'm going to watch the Grammys. And I was ready for all the dumb bullshit, but man, it actually wasn't that bad. I mean, I got to say, it was quite entertaining. And I didn't know who any of those people were. I'm just like you. I knew Miley. I knew Taylor. I knew a couple of those people. Whoever won the country thing, I don't know who the hell that is. But yeah, it's a good show.
I mean, it was all right for a little bit. I got to see, but yeah. I don't know, dude. It is what it is. I mean, that's not our style of music.
Ain't no doubt.
I mean, it's not like old school country, like, Brooks and Dunn, which I'm going to in the San Antonio Rodeo. That was one of the birthday gifts was a present to us for me, to go see Brooks and Dunn. So I got to go check out got to find the start shirts and shit. Got to get all that lined up and ready to go.
Poppers. You got to find the brush poppers, my man. I still have some of those. I still have some brush poppers actually over at my dad's house. And the last time I was over there, I looked at that thing and man, I couldn't wrap that around one of my thighs these days. So yeah, pretty sad. Hey, before we bring the first guest on, before Jason jumps on here talking Lone Star Dwarf cars, I do want to talking about going to my dad's house. I do want to pass on condolences. I was actually over Saturday when I talk about my racing career. Right across the street, one of my best friends ever in life was Adam Arias. He passed away a few years ago. But in my later years, when I began racing full time over in Austin, his parents, Mr. Narciso, Hortensia, and his younger brother, Chris, they would go out and they went to every race at Longhorn and they videotaped every freaking lap, Bobby. I've got it on VHS. Every lap I did. It didn't matter if it was a hot lap or whatever it was. Narciso and Hortensia and Chris did that. Narciso passed away on Friday, I believe it was. No, on Thursday, I believe it was. And we laid him to rest. So a lot of really good people right there that did a lot for me in my racing career. Just great fans, and I pass on condolences there. All right, let's dive right in here as we're getting into a brand new season of racing. A brand new season of racing. Stuff is starting to tick up again. And dwarf car racing. You guys know that I did that for a while with the Dwarf Car Racing Series of Texas. We're diving in right here. Jason Bellows joins us because when it comes to dwarf car racing, obviously DCRST still here down south, but when you go up north, it is the Lone Star Dwarf Car Club, and these guys do some really good stuff. And Jason, welcome in, my man. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Doing well, brother. How's the weather up there for you? We always ask when people jump in north, what's going on over there.
No, it's dry and cool, but not bad.
All right. Very good. Very good.
So, Jason, tell us about the Lone Star Dwarf. Obviously, about the DCRST down south, but you guys used to do some back and forth races there for a long time. But it seemed like you guys were the first to go from what I would call maybe a stock Dwarf with using the more Toyota axles and stuff like that to the higher end rules with the shocks and some of that stuff. Talk about the evolution. Well, now, I mean, you got super lightning fast race cars in a little bundle of dynamite right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think I started with Lone Star Dwarf Kart Club probably 25 years ago. And,
Wow.
At that time we were running air cooled motors on DOT tires. And, now we're running, fuel injected 1000cc motors with Hoosier Racing tires, quick change rear ends. There's been a lot of advancements in shocks. So the cars have gotten extremely fast over the years, and I don't think people really understand just how quick they are.
Yeah, Jason, talk about that part, because that's one of the things that I had to learn when it comes to these cars. When it comes to the horsepower to weight ratio, they don't weigh very much, and then you put a fat ass guy like me in there, and that's going to manipulate that weight a little bit. But talk about that part, because I mean these things are all out race cars. I mean, I don't care if it was the older school like Bobby was talking about, their old school cars, but this is all out race car. These things turn and run on a dime. Kind of talk about that horsepower to weight thing.
Yeah, I mean, this year we switched over to Western States rule package, and they've changed the weight rule to 1250 with the driver. So, your minimum weight's 1250 with the driver. Again, a lot of guys are over that just because of driver weight, but they're insane machines that these things are turning 14,000 plus RPM. We're as far as power to weight ratio, we're probably second only to like a sprint car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Jason, in terms of Lone Star Dwarf cars, where do you up in the Metroplex? All of them, all the way up to Southern Oklahoma? How far up do y'all go? Over to Kennedale and all kind of places up there?
Yeah, so the tracks that we'll be at this year, we'll be at Grayson County, which is up in the Sherman Bells area. Also Rocket Raceway Park. We'll be up there a couple times. They're also hosting our 9th annual Lone Star Nationals race. Hunt County, Big O, Kennedale, Abilene. And then we're going to get to go down south. We've got a couple of north-south shows with DCRST. They're going to come up and run with us in March, and then we're going to go and run with them later in the season down at Cotton Bowl on August the 30th.
Yeah, and kind of talk about that part, Jason, because it really seems like with you guys, the one thing that we see with dwarf cars, I know a lot of tracks, when it becomes a regular thing, they kind of go to the every other week or whatever. But I mean, you guys, I mean, looking at the schedule, I mean, firing off at Grayson County, kind of the odd one, the only one there in March. But man, you guys are blowing and going every weekend, and you do not lack at all for car count.
No, we don't. We typically draw anywhere from 15 to 20 cars a night. And most of the time we're going to average right around 18 cars on a race night. We are doing a little bit more traveling now that we have some of these tracks are a little bit further out than what they have been in the past. But it hasn't seemed to really hurt our car count. Plus, we're doing a couple things this year to kind of help with that. We've raised our payout scale, and we're doing a points fund this year. So we're hoping that will also bring some more people to dwarf cars and keep our car counts up through the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jason, talk about these combo shows where it looks like you guys are going to Colorado, going to Arizona. Then you got some of the big north-south races there with DCR races in Colorado and Arizona. That's a hell of a trip, but it seems like those are some pretty big races.
They are. Those are Central States national races. So we left those dates open on our schedule this year. We're new to Central States. We're happy to be a part of that. So we're going to, try and leave those dates open so that guys can go and, support Central States Dwarf cars. So we'll be going to I-76 in Colorado, Deuces of Clubs in Arizona, and then we'll be going to South Texas Race Ranch with DCRST down south, then to Kansas, and then to finish it all out, the point season ends in Marysville, California, which is a fantastic show. It's all dwarfs all weekend long. I mean, it's if you like dwarf car racing, it's the mecca for dwarf car racing.
How great is it, Jason, that it really seems like with dwarf car racing, we see a lot of not so much divide, whatever you want to call it, whether it's on dirt or pavement with some of the other, whether it be modifieds or stock cars or whatever. It really seems like between Western states and Central states. And I know when I was in DCRST, we were drastically different from you guys on the Lone Star side. But how great, in the sense that it seems like dwarf car racing has come together to offer and afford these guys all of these great events to go race around the country.
Yeah, there's still a couple of clubs out there that, we would consider running an outlaw show, but for the most part, and it was a big thing for Lone Star, because we were considered one of those clubs where we were allowing, certain things that other clubs weren't. So it was a big step for us to pull back a little bit and go the way of Western States rules, to allow our guys to be able to go up and run these Central States races, and be able to go to Marysville and allow those guys to come here and race with us. So I think it makes dwarf cars a better series to watch. I think it makes us a stronger group if we all run under the same rules.
It's kind of like the Cars Tour on asphalt, right? That's dominating the Mid-Atlantic and now coming out to the Southeast more and all that. When you have the united rules, and it used to be back in the day, you've raced for a long time, she knows back in the day, every track wanted their own set of rules, so the guys got to be stuck at a racetrack. Or the rules are becoming a little bit more universal, where a guy can stay in one class, but they still have the ability to travel all around the country to different races. It's not necessarily an IMCA sanction. I think you hit on something really good there when you said that you went to change the rules for the Lone Star Club. That opens up a lot more possibilities for exposure and everything else. Because if a Lone Star guy goes to Colorado and kicks ass, that's good for you guys back here in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we weren't able to do that in years past because, they were running Western States and we were running our own rules. So for us to conform to the Western States rules and make that step, it really does open up a lot of opportunity for the guys in the group here.
Yeah, absolutely. LSDCC-racing.com is the website right there for the Lone Star Dwarf Club. So talk about that, Jason, for you, like we were talking about a while ago, the evolution of dwarf car racing, just everything that's happened. Kind of you've done this for a little bit to kind of see how everything has come around. I mean, at times it's a little frustrating, but at the same time, man, it's really cool to see how everything has kind of evolved itself.
Yeah, it's amazing just to see where these cars have come from to where they're going. We've got new motors that are, that they're going to have to make a decision, here within the next year or so. Are we going to allow this next generation of motors in? That the technology has even surpassed what we have now, and the horsepower surpassed what we're running now. So there's a lot of challenges there. And hopefully by next year we'll know where we're going with that. But yeah, I mean, the sport, dwarf car racing just continues to grow, and it continues to change with technology. At the same time, we try to, not get it to a level that people can't afford to race, because, that ultimately dwarf cars is one of those classes that, we want a lot of people to be able to, that want to race, to be able to afford to come and race. So we try not to make huge changes and huge swings. And we try to keep the cost down as much as possible, but also look at, where we can go with the technology as it changes.
So when you talk about going to the new the new set of rules. See, the Lone Star stuff was pretty high end, high tech anyway. What all did you have to change to convert the rules? Was it just a couple of engine modifications, shock limits? I mean, what all did you guys have to change?
Yeah, so we allowed a couple different types of shocks that they don't allow in Western states. I don't know exactly off the top of my head what those 4 shocks are that I think there's 4 or 5 sets of shocks Western states will allow. So there was a couple of guys that had to change on that. I know for me and my son's car, roof rake was a problem. We had a mod light that we had converted back to a Dwarf car, and we had a little bit more roof rake than they like, so we had to make some changes to that. We have to run rectangle tubing on the rear end. We had round tubing, so we had to make some changes there. You know, the weight rule was different, which they changed it really more in our favor than because we were running 1240 before. They were running 1,000 pound without the driver, so they moved theirs to 1250 with the driver. So that didn't hurt us too bad. But other than that, I mean, there were very minute things that we had to change to get in line with Western states, and that's why we ultimately decided to do that. You know, we wanted the guys to be able to participate in some of these other events, and in order to do that, we needed to make that change. So we felt like it was the time. You know, we wanted to be more in line with our guys down south at DCRST. We want to be able to go down there and run with them, be on the same level as them be on the same level as us, and support each other and continue to grow dwarf car racing here in Texas as well.
Yeah, for sure. So how is it for you guys? Because I know for a long time with DCRST down south, I mean, it was very much, homemade parts. I mean, there was one guy, Arden Vickery, that did everything. I mean, if your car was wrecked, you went over there, you took it to him, and he'd build you, upper control arms. He did everything for you. Kind of that transition right there for you that have done this for a while. How hard was that to where it's like, okay, there's easier ways to do this, but at the same time, you kind of want to stay with what's traditional. That really kind of seemed to be the thing that kind of tipped the scales right there when it came to dwarf car racing.
Yeah, I mean, there for a time, you're right. There was just the one guy, or you did it yourself.
Yeah.
You built your own stuff. Now there's, there's parts for these cars everywhere. There's some big builders out in the West Coast, M&M, B&B. We've got Peter D Motorsports right here in Whitney, Texas. There's a lot of places now that you can go and get parts and pieces for these cars. I'm in the process right now of rebuilding my son's car. We're able to go to Smiley's and get a lot of the stuff we need. So a lot of this stuff is readily and easy to get now that this class has gotten more and more popular.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think popularity is a key word there, Jason, because one thing is, as an announcer, for the people that don't know the dwarf cars, I mean, a lot of people can't tell just with a dwarf car and a mod light, and I get that they're similar and all of that. But it's one thing when the cars come out and the machines, and then you hear the rumble of the motorcycle motors. And then when the green flag drops, the BS stops, and you guys go flat out in these dwarf cars, man, and then put on some good 2-3 wide racing and all. We've seen some of the Lone Star races from down here up on Race on Texas and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see, the little panda, just some really kick-ass racing machines. And it does take some rather large grapefruits to drive some of these things now with as fast as they go and the tiny little package that it is right there. So kudos to you guys for making the change to get more participation throughout the group.
I'm sorry, guys. I lost the audio. I can't hear you guys anymore. But yeah, the 3 wide racing and the shows that these guys put on is incredible. Side by side, throwing slide jobs on each other from corner to corner. It's an awesome show to watch, and the skill that these drivers have to run these cars at the speeds they do, wheel to wheel. It's amazing, and it's a great show for the fans.
It is. Jason, don't know if you can hear, but there's a schedule one more time. Let's kind of walk through it one more time. Grayson County, we are going Valentine's weekend right there. Just kind of take folks through there. And again, where folks can get further in depth into the Lone Star. We lost him. Son of a gun. Okay. Well, I kind of saw that was happening right there. I think we may have him back. Let's try to pull him back in. Jason, if I got you one more time, the last question I was asking, just kind of run through that schedule one more time. Grayson County coming up middle of February, and then taking it all the rest of the way through the year.
Yeah, we're starting in Grayson County, and then we'll just be traveling throughout the state. We got 6 races at Big O and in Ennis, Texas. We've got 6 races at Kennedale. We'll be at Abilene twice this season. Grayson County, I think we're there 4 times. And then we'll be down at Cotton Bowl and Rocket Raceway. We have 2 races there. The big one being the 9th annual Lone Star Dwarf Car Nationals. That's October 17th through the 19th. And we're expecting to have cars from all over the country come in for that. Central States cars from Arizona, Colorado, maybe some Western States cars from California area. We generally pull somewhere between 60 and 80 cars to that event. So it'll be a good show.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. All right, my man. Thank you for jumping on. Looking forward to a great year for you guys. We'll be following along, and hopefully I'll be up north at various points, maybe down south when you guys head this way. So love to shake your hand and talk some racing, man. Appreciate you jumping on Revved Up tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Y'all have a great night.
You got it, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You bet. There he goes, Jason Bellows diving in tonight, and there is that schedule once again for the Lone Star Dwarf Car Club. Lots of events right there, and it really is cool that they have the kind of with the central states and the western states right there. When they started opening the rules up, I think that really afforded a bunch of different opportunities for guys. I mean, I know like Ryan Stoy, who's already checked in right here. You know, these guys, they go off and they do different things, and it's really cool because it kind of is, you know, like we talk about IMCA stock cars and all that kind of shit, to where, you know, you can go off and do what you normally do, you know, for the most part.
I think so. I mean, I think the way that it opens up to be able to have guys give options, I think right now is that we talked about Jason Loop set up to where one track could keep you locked in. Now I think because we don't race as much as we used to, or there's certain tracks that race more than what other tracks do. Like there's a handful that race weekly, and there's plenty that don't. That now with the rules becoming a lot of the same thing, you're able to pick how much racing you want to do with these unified set of rules, and I think that's a really good thing in terms of being able to make your program better. By if you want to race once a month, that's fine. Here's a racetrack for you. You want to race twice a month, here's a racetrack for you. You want to race every weekend, here's a racetrack for you. You want to race half there, cars legal, have fun, kick ass.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, I mean, and we need to figure out a time to get whether it be Dwayne or somebody on from DCRST, because you can look at their schedule as well, and it is just as packed as what you're seeing right there with the Lone Star Club. I mean, they fire off March 2nd at Gulf Coast Speedway, then the next week, March 9th, they're at I-37. By the way, Ray coming up here in just a little bit. Then they go to Kennedale for the North and South shootout. For the first time, they go north, and then Texana. So it's 4 times in March that you get DCRST. So I think that's the beauty of these things, because it really still is. And with DCRST, they're actually going back on the pavement as well. So, you know, they're doing stuff right there. These are a lot more. I think for somebody, if it's a veteran race car driver, this or the Legacy Series, this is something to where you can dive in. I mean, yeah, you got to work on them. But it's not quite what you have to do with some of the other, late models and modifieds and all that. Yeah, you got to do preventative maintenance and all that stuff, but it's not quite the upkeep and the just sheer labor that you have to do on some of these big cars. And I think that's where dwarf cars and the Legacies kind of really set themselves apart for guys that just want to do this shit and still try to have fun.
Well, you got to think about it. It's more maintenance than say an eco stock in Houston. Granted, those guys do a lot, change their oil weekly, have to change the tire weekly, stuff like that. But it's a little more high tech. You get a chance to mess with shocks in a Dwarf car. You get a chance to mess with pinion angles and all kind of different geometry and stuff on it with the customized rear ends now. So you can I don't know. We have to ask Mike Knotts the limits that you could take a legacy car. I think some of their stuff's pretty locked down, but there's definitely multiple options in a Dwarf car. Is expensive as what you get with a 3-link and a big mod or a multi-change rear end like you get in the USRA limited mod.
Yeah, man, I got to tell you that was one of the really cool things when we figured out with our Dwarf car, how to use some of that stuff and how to do different things with that and how to work with the rule book. It was really something there to where you can really get in there and do a lot of things. And it's a full-fledged race car. I mean, that was a cool part for me, because it really was with our car. I mean, with the car that I still have, you could get over there where something's not right on the right rear, and it's like, okay, let's jack something into the or take something out of the right. I mean, let's do that kind of shit. And that's a whole thing like he was talking about when Jason's talking about that they reduce the weight. Holy shit. You want to talk about horsepower and all that stuff. My goodness, they're going to be even faster. Jeez Louise, for crying out loud.
Yeah, 13. What is 1250 with a driver? That's super light. You talk about power to weight ratio now. Woo.
Yeah, that's a lot. Hey, look who's checking in right here. Your dad. What's he doing awake right now?
It's only 7 o'clock. He's not awake. If we're on past 8, he's probably asleep by then. So.
I have to pull this up. And there are things that I do want to talk about, Bobby. I want to go down the rabbit hole with the Clash, and like I said, I do want to talk about Formula One. But looks like I saw this weekend we lost another one. Looks like we lost, and I don't mean I was talking about my friend that passed away, great family friend, but it looks like another one of our great racing friends bit the dust. It looks like one of our great racers has into wedlock, dude. Into wedlock. Another one has got married. Take a look right here, my friends.
For all our years, that I remember.
Memphis Virial takes the plunge, but I will say the good thing is he married a racing girl. So
that's right.
You're going to be all right.
She already knew he was racing when they got together. Hell, that's how they met. So that's the good news.
Yeah. And I like it too, because it was like right away. I pulled something up and I saw something on Facebook and it said Jamie Villarreal. And I'm like, who is that? And I clicked on it. And I'm like, Jamie Hogan. Be damn. Look at that. Good for them. Good for them. Very excited for them. And Memphis doing it right there. Taking the dive, my man.
Well, and it'll be something to watch. That's for sure. Especially as the season goes on. But as he said, married into a racing family. Both of them did. Either way you look at it. So, congrats to the newlyweds. Memphis is a show friends, and look forward to talking to him in Victory Lane a couple of different times this year, whether it be at Houston or be over there at Texana.
Yeah, and if you missed it, I'm gonna play it again just to embarrass them. Congratulations, Jamie and Memphis.
For all our years, that I remember.
How cute. I love it. I love it. Good young kids right there. That's two really good people. You think he cried?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell.
Damn, we'll have to get somebody that was there to tell us if he did. I bet he did. I bet he did. He's a good dude. You think she cried?
Probably some.
Yeah.
At some point during the day. Most of the time, the brides do at some point. So,
did you cry at your wedding?
That is behind lock and key there, sir. That's only going to be known to the people that were there.
I cried at my second wedding. I cried because when we did that, of course, was a lot of people know we had Chloe and Kendall were very young at the time, and part of our wedding was they came down in their little dresses and whatever, and so seeing them come down, I mean that only that set the waterworks off for me, just that in and of itself, and then the crying. So yeah, that happened there. The first time I cried then too.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm just kidding. I can only do that because I get along so well these
Only
days.
one of those was happy tears, though. In the beginning and the end.
Oh yeah. You know what? I think she probably cried too. I think Jennifer cried too. She's like, "What in the fuck have I done?" I think I had times to do this, guys. You see Bobby and I wearing this cool gear that we have on, courtesy of our friends at On Demand Shirts. By the way, On Demand Shirts right there. We got a QR code for them as well. You can actually dive in there. I don't think our online store is actually set up with them yet. I'm actually set to head over during the week, either this week or next week. I'm going to go see James Cole. Bobby, you are more than invited. Once I set that all up, we can figure out a time to go up there and do that. But on-demand shirts right there for you guys that and ladies that want to get all of your racing stuff done for the season. Go ahead and check them out and get that all set up. Speaking of on-demand shirts, how about a quick word from them? Yep, there it is right there, on-demand shirts. We'll pull that QR code up, and we've got folks already checking in on that. So be sure and make them your apparel favorite when you're doing that this year. James Cole and all the great folks right there. Bobby, what did you think? And we'll dive in coming up 7:30. Ray Doyon, we're going to check on with him and get all the happenings of I-37. Watermelon, whatever you want to call it, Cordeal. The change right there with the Nolans buying that racetrack and putting Ricky Brooks in place for that. That was in the middle of the week last week when all that happened after they had just run, a race right there. Kind of your thoughts with that right there. I mean, as if asphalt short track racing wasn't muddy enough. Now you got that shit happening. Your thoughts as Mr. Brooks takes on that great place.
I was thinking it was good that they had Ricky on as the head man in charge over there. As far as the Nolans taking over, it was good to know that that racing people with lots of money took it over, because that means that it could stay open for a hot minute. A lot of places get taken over by people with lots of money, but not a lot of racing sense, and it doesn't go all that well. Then we've seen a lot of racers take over, have the best intentions, and can't make it work because they ain't got no money.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit the best of both worlds there, because you've got the Nolans that have the financial resources to invest in the facilities, and then you got a guy like Ricky Brooks. Is he going to stay? Is he going to stay in Florida? Or is he going to move up to Cordeal?
I think I saw something where Tracy, his better half, was saying that they were getting ready to make their move right there to Georgia. Ray, you're fine, dude. You got plenty of time. Don't worry. I got plenty of shit that I want to bitch about. So you just jump on when you can, my man. But I think something that I thought was really odd today, and again, I know agreements are in place, and I did reach out to some folks that are in the know up there to where the schedule came out for now, the new Cordeal track. I mean, they've gotten rid of the watermelon, whatever the hell it was called. So here's what's going to be interesting. So you've got a race. I know at least you have one. I'll look it up here in just a minute. But you have an ASA Southern Super Series race that is being contested at a track that Ricky Brooks manages. So it's like, I mean, I like that. I really think if I know there's a lot more to it than me saying it's a good idea, but God damn it, if these people could get along, I think that it could be really massive. I think for asphalt late model and pro late model and modifieds and all of them short track racing.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see how well they get along, but sometimes there's it's kind of like when you have two dogs in the car at the same time. They might always get along, but they know there's a time and a place for them to get along, and that's when they're
Yep.
riding in the car together. Kind of the same deal there with Ricky Brooks and the ASA folks with Sargent and some of them guys over there. So I think that it's the head button is bound to happen just because the way that it's going to be, but I don't know, dude. Might be really good. Might be turned into a really good thing. I don't think we're going to see two series merge together like we saw with the XFL and USFL, but you never know. Stranger things in racing has happened.
Yeah, I don't see this thing. Whatever. I would just kind of what I would like with all of that. I would just hope that they would agree to disagree, and that would be a step forward. I mean, because it's like they're bottlenecked at this point, and all that it puts the racers in a bad spot. So anyway, that was kind of the one thing that I did want to touch on when it came to asphalt short track racing. Bobby, I watched a lot of the Lucas Oil dirt track races this weekend, man. And I thought Garrett Albertson, man, I thought that he may have something on Friday night, I guess it was. They're trying to chase down Ricky Thornton Jr. Really good run right there. Dude, I'm here to tell you, if you're a dirt track racing fan and you want to kind of, or you're a pavement fan, you're kind of trying to find something that's going to get you really excited, dive in on the late models, man, because that was really good. And then you had a hell of a race on Sunday, with McCready winning that one. That was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. And that track crew on Friday night did a damn good job getting that racetrack ready.
That's usually the biggest wait that we have is we have to wait for the race crew to get the tracks ready. But that's another reason Flow Racing is really good because of the fact that Flow Racing has most of the Lucas Oil dirt late model racing on it. So that's usually a good thing. I mean, Flow's pretty good for the bang for the dollar right there, but definitely they put on some good stuff. RTJ's been really good this year. What was that?
I don't know. Did you fart?
No, it wasn't me.
Kind of went in a tunnel there for a second. I'm not sure.
Damn. Yeah, but new mic. It's damn junk, I guess.
All right, that's all right. But that was one of those things to where it's like, that's where I had to put my fan cap on Friday night when you're sitting there, because if you get a delay on a pavement track, what's going to happen? Boom, people are going to be blowing this thing up. This shit sucks. And when all that was going on, a couple of different times, Bobby, I had the keyboard and I'm like, wow, I didn't plan to tune in and watch an hour of track prep and all this other stuff. I refrained. I hit delete, which other people should do. And when it wound up the way it was, they did a good job doing that. But that's a long ass wait. That's being in the crowd, maybe go get a cold beer, do whatever you do there. But that's a lot to sit through for 50 laps of racing.
Not as bad as Chili Bowl. Definitely not as bad as the Chili Bowl, but there have been some delays in the Lucas Oil stuff getting the races together, but usually the races make up for it. I mean, and it's a quick, efficient show minus the track prep. I mean, they get them in, get them out, they get them rolling, and it's a really good, entertaining show. So it's it's probably one of the better run racing series in the country, but I think it also has the opportunity to be even better, as the series goes on and the year moves on.
Chili Bowl, the race that they do in a Coliseum,
inside a big metal building, not even a Coliseum,
on a man-made track.
A purpose-built man-made track. Yeah,
that's a great idea. I love that. I love that idea. I mean, it works really good. A lot of people, man. And it's the whole thing. Everybody's going crazy over that thing. They had to do that with stock cars, dude.
You
pavement.
think if they did that with stock cars, like do it like kind of like a Bowman Gray thing and put it around a football stadium or put it inside a football stadium, that's about a quarter mile long flat track like we grew up with there on 183, isn't it?
Oh, that would be unbelievable, Bobby, if they could figure out a way to do that.
And then bring in a support series that runs late model style cars and have them put on a really good show, and people will say that's the better show, but you never know. I mean, if only they could find a way to make a temporary racetrack inside just about anything and have a hell of a good crowd and make good TV numbers and go with it. Who knows the possibilities could be endless for that.
The possibilities are endless. Come on, guys. All right, on to the Clash. Look, we talked about it. They did a really good job of getting this thing done. Here's my thoughts on the Clash. Look, Bobby, we have an all-star race that, say what you want to say about it. I mean, that's the one. Do that at the Coliseum. Do all this other stuff. I really think that it's time for, and this is not going to be a popular bit or popular take for folks that already frown upon the NASCAR stuff, but look, this is where I think with the Clash, go back and think about what the Clash really was. The Clash was for pole winners of the previous year. That's exactly what it was. Here's part of the problem with the mindset of the Clash right now. This was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. after the race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got caught up with some people and, whatever the hell happened right there. This was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. after the Clash when they put a mic in his face.
Yeah, what's he saying? I got nothing but static. Can't hear nothing.
I'll play it again.
You did get into it a little bit with a couple of drivers. Let's start with the 42. You talked with him during the halfway break. Just what was that about, and how did that originate?
Yeah, just dive bombing me 3 wide for no reason on a restart. So that was it. Just go and talk to him about that because we were both a lap down. He was actually 2 laps down. I was 1 lap down, and there was just no reason for it. Exhibition race. So yeah, just no reason for it. But yeah, I mean it's a smaller than a quarter mile, and we're just playing pinball out there. So then the 34 kind of did the same thing, exactly the same thing. And we talked afterwards, and he said that he just really wanted to try and finish 15th or 10th. And I was like, well, it doesn't really matter where you finish unless you win this race. So I told him I went through the exhibition race here. You make the race and you just try not to make people mad. And they saw it different than I did. So I left a little mad, but it's part of it. I'm over it now, and it was cool to make the race. We made it the first year, didn't make it the second year, so it was cool to have enough speed to make the race.
Just an exhibition race, he says, and that's what it is. And sorry about that right there. I was clicking around doing different things. Yes. That's what it is. So my point is right here. I saw some conversation over the weekend to maybe, with Mexico, Canada, some of the other people are interested. You've got the all-star race that you have right here. Everybody makes the all-star race. The Clash used to be a very select few people that were able to get in. Look, if you have the Clash, make this the thing that you're going to take and go ahead and move this out and go try to. It's an exhibition race. Go help your franchise. Go to Mexico City. I can tell you for a fact, Bobby, I know this. I was told this over the weekend multiple times from mi familia. This would be massive in Mexico. And my whole thing is, I mean, people here don't want it anyway. And all the outcries, let's go to Daytona. You remember those races? They weren't worth the shit. Nobody went to those things. Let's do it at Atlanta. Ain't no fucking body going to go to that. I mean, come on. Take this, use the Clash to be what he said, an exhibition to go out and win your new market, because your home market, your American people apparently don't give a shit about what you're doing anyway.
Well, I think it's my take on the All-Star race is that it's the same as it's always been. Every single race is an All-Star race because you get to see the same drivers, you get to see the same teams. Yeah, they probably got a different wrap on them with a different sponsor that week, but there is no difference between the cars and the stars that you see race in the actual All-Star race in North Wilkesboro than you will at Texas Motor Speedway, than you will at COTA, than you will at Atlanta.
Yep.
So every single race is an All-Star race. Where I think that the Clash got off center was a little bit is when it hit mainstream about 2007, when NASCAR was rocking and rolling, coming up after the death of Dale Earnhardt. Everybody wanted to see their favorite driver make the race. That was the Danica effect. That was the Dale Jr. effect by not winning a race. They went from adding pole winners to adding race winners. Then you had to add the playoff guys.
Yeah,
so it just ended up being, it's never been about the pole winners for the last 10 years or so. It's an exhibition race.
Yeah,
that's all it is now. There's two exhibition races on the calendar. You got the Clash at the beginning, and then you got the All-Star race in the middle. Both of them need to change up. You want to see something fun as hell. I mean, I love the idea of running at North Wilkesboro. The fact that place is back up and running that whole week is great. When you got super late models running, you got the Cars Tour running, you got the Truck Series, you got the Cup Series. Perfect for a short track of that nature. That place is packed. That's good for Wilkes County. Yeah. But what you got to do is you got to come through and make up another way to get the Clash somewhere else. They talked about 1 or 2 tracks down there in Mexico that might work. But the thing that I see is if you're going to run international, maybe make it, if you do run international, make it a one-time race. And then, if you don't move it to Canada the next year, turn that extra race into an international points race. That'll get some eyebrows up and running. If you run a points race in Montreal versus a point race, non-exhibition event there at the LA Coliseum.
Yeah, and that's where I go back to, because I know a lot of the outcry is, with the race is no good, needs to be at Daytona. And then when the conversation comes up about moving it, it's like, well, how the hell can NASCAR do that? I mean, how can they go outside of our borders? Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, look at the fan base. I mean, and I think what they've done with the LA Coliseum has been really good. I mean, I think that you have, that market is super important. That market is super important. California is very important. What happens with the Fontana track? I don't know. I've seen that thing is so far out, behind schedule. I never thought that shit was going to happen in the first place, Bobby.
No.
That's just a back ass handed way to not have the place on the thing anymore. I mean, but what NASCAR's trying to do with that, they want LA. I mean, that's what they're really trying to do with that. And the whole thing is, if you're going to have that backlash, and if that's not the place to do it, yeah, keep your all-star race. Figure out a way to do wherever you're going to do that. Do it at Rockingham. Do it at Wilkes, like you're talking about. Do that shit at the tracks like they're talking about. I mean, go to Pensacola. I mean, go to those tracks with the all-star race. If you want to do something to where you're going to get the fans excited about whatever, do the all-star. But this Clash thing, let's go do it somewhere else. Let's go win another fan base that's going to help your product. Because obviously there are a lot of people here that don't give a damn anymore. So go win that other market if you can.
Of course, there's a lot of people that don't give a damn that sure paid attention to what happened on Saturday to bitch about it on Sunday.
And that's where I still got to. I mean, all night Saturday night, it's like there's nobody there.
No shit. The race got rescheduled 3 hours before that.
And then I got the whole thing where, what do you mean nobody's here? It was free. The race was not free. The Sunday race was not free. That was never the plan.
Hell, they weren't originally going to allow people into the grandstands on Saturday.
I know. But that's a conversation we can go on with forever. But let's dive back in right here, because we have been showcasing here the last couple of weeks, talking about all of the great tracks around the state, and one that we definitely want to give some love to, our friends over in Pleasanton. And we welcome him in fresh off a cruise. This guy was out on a country cruise, I think he was, out hobnobbing with all the fancy people. It is our man from I-37 Speedway in Pleasanton, Mr. Ray Doyon. And Ray, you welcome in your fans only the way that you can do
it. Do I do it now?
Do it now.
Did I give it to him?
Do it now, my man. Bring it on.
Hello, I-37 Speedway fans.
There it is right there. Ray, how the hell are you doing, man? You over the cruise? You over being seasick?
I have an iron gut, man. I didn't get sick at all. Drink some booze every day. Booze and ice cream.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, love it. Uh-oh.
Had a lot of fun.
I-37.
It was a good getaway before we get into racing season.
No doubt.
So, Ray, talk about it, man. You guys have a really diverse schedule coming up this year, with all different kind of stuff. You got the magic touch on one class that nobody else has seemed to get the magic touch on, and that's a late model class. Talk about the labor and love with that to get that class established, where you guys have got it basically running on pretty much a full-time season with you guys.
Yes, sir. Man, it's just the most fun class to race. Hopefully, did you reconnect? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got you.
You there?
Yep, we got you.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Man, it's the most fun class to watch and race that I've ever been involved in, and it's growing. It's growing pretty dang good right now.
So, Ray, kind of talk about, and we can touch back on that, but talk about your time there. I mean, you guys have done a lot of facility improvements and everything that you guys have been doing. Kind of touch on that part. Yeah, he's kind of freezing up a little bit. Hopefully, we're going to be able to get him. But Ray, kind of some of the stuff that you guys have been doing to continue to make 37 better for the race fans. Ooh, look at that picture. He looks good, doesn't he?
Almost a post office worthy picture right there.
I'll tell you right there, that looks like a dude that has been doing some wrong things. He had told me when I had him scheduled for this that he might have some connectivity issues. So we'll kind of let him work on that. But let's take a look at that schedule once again, pulling it up right there. So they're going to be, you've got on March the 9th, you've got the ceremony and everything, and driver fan appreciation night. All of that's happening right there. Redneck Stress Relief coming up March 23rd, Bobby. And I kind of like the way that they moved that over to where it's more towards the beginning of the season. I think that's something that could be pretty cool for them to start this thing off.
I think it's good, but I would worry about my racetrack getting torn up at the beginning of the season versus the end of the season, where you get a full off season to try to work the track back into shape after all the craziness that happens during that Redneck Stress release race. But I mean, you know, we've seen events try to happen. We tried to do that at Texana, running the Clash in the springtime instead of the fall time, and that event fell flat on its face. But maybe they'll have better luck with that Redneck Stress Relief coming up at the beginning of the year than having it at the end of the year.
And then they really start firing off right there, April 6th, the 13th, and April 27th. You've got April 6th. That's the beginning of the points races. All that really starts to fire off for them with the late models, the mods, limited modifieds, fireballs, factory stocks, and sport compacts. And they just continue going on and on right there. They really are the one track that I think that they dive in, like you were talking about, and we were talking late models a while ago, to where they really, I think them and then Owen working with his series, where they're really trying to pull this late model thing in to make the late models really legit in South Texas. And I think that really is the one class that is really missing, I think, down here.
Well, I think it is in terms of an ecosystem as far as dirt goes. The problem is they're just so damn expensive for what you can pay on a weekly basis. I mean, some of the cars you're looking at, you're looking at $30,000 to $40,000 per car, and then you can get a nice used one for 10 to 15. But then the good used ones, sometimes they get outrun by the $30,000 to $40,000 machines all the time. So it becomes a unique challenge to get a set of rules that's affordable, and yet get a purse that's affordable for the racetrack. Just because, we're still paying almost the same amount of money to get into the racetrack that we have for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Everything's going up more expensive, not including just for the promoter, but for the racer too.
Yeah. And I think it really is one of those things to where I was talking to some folks when I was in Mississippi, to where the late models are so different. And what I like about where the emphasis is, it seems to be right here in Texas and kind of in Louisiana with, obviously, the crate business now, but it's one of those things to where a lot of times when you get the supers, a lot of that depends on the surface, and that's where I think that we see the differences right there with some of that stuff, getting all that horsepower to the ground, because as the seasons go on, as the weather changes, you can have I went to a shop, Bobby. I went to a shop in Mississippi, and I'm looking at an 850 horsepower home-built motor that cost a dude $75,000 to be built. Right next to it was one of the GM crates, and the motor builder's telling me that thing right there is going to be really, really good in February and March. When the weather changes, they can't turn the power off enough on that thing to make it do what the crate's going to do, because the crate's going to be able to do what it does.
Yeah, power to weight ratio is better.
Right, and I think that's where the late model thing is gets a little crazy, but I think crate is the way to go. But anyway, I think Ray's about to rejoin us here, so as soon as we get him, we'll pull him back in. But one of the thoughts right here that I think that 37 has done well. How about the Fireball class, man? That they have grown that thing exceptionally nice over at I-37.
Well, I think the Fireball class worked better than the Bootlegger class did. By just a few cars. But I just think, it may be one of those things. Is it more affordable for dirt? Maybe. Is the asphalt more affordable? I don't know. But 37's they've got some formulas that seems to be working for them, and they've had it. What is this, 5 or 6 years now for them to run that track?
Yeah, they really have. Let's dive him back in. Here he is, Ray Doyon. So Ray, when we left off, we were kind of talking about right there, and Bobby just touched on it. You guys have done a really damn good job of building not only the facility infrastructure, everything there in Pleasanton, but building a good car and a good fan base. Kind of talk about that, the growth of what we've seen at 37.
Man, this is going into our 8th year, and every year we learn so much, right? With things not to do in the future, and then things to do and repeat and get better at. And we do have an exceptional fan base and racing base. And to be honest, I'm probably the most excited about this year. I have been in a long time. And it's a lot to do with late models and Fireballs. Not that I don't love all of our classes, but it's the 2 classes that are on the move.
Yeah, no doubt.
So in terms of the Fireball, it's like you guys had that magic formula to pull some of the old asphalt super stocks, get you some good old dirt track, upper echelon kind of street stocks, pulled them together and made it work. What's the secret to making that class so popular as they get more and more cars built for the Fireballs?
Rules. Fucking rules make them easy as shit. Basic. If you go look at our rules, it's about a fourth of length of all the other classes. And man, engines, we got a wide open engine package almost, and you just have to run that 6,600 RPM chip and then go let it eat.
Yep.
And the tire.
Yeah. Isn't that the thing? I mean, I see so many classes around the country or around the state where, man, they go in there and they do all these rules, and I'm like, God damn, you can do this, but maybe you can do this or this or this or this. It's like, man, keep it simple. Just give them a platform, figure out a way to get the damn cars on the racetrack, and just let them race.
Yeah, the racers and track promoters have lost reality and what racing is about in some classes. You know what I mean? Like, yes, if you take your racing that serious and you want to be known, then get a modified or get a late model. But if you want to have some fun and keep it semi-affordable, get your ass in a Fireball.
I think that's the best way to look at it. You guys have a pretty successful sport compact program down there too, in terms of the 4-cylinders, the 4-bangers. So you've got a class that fits every budget and a class that fits everybody's need depending on which way they want. Talk about the success you've had over the years with that 4-cylinder class down there.
They get, people can tease about them and stuff, but at the end of the day, they put on one of the best shows also, just because they don't have the roar and some of the things that big cars have. At the end of the day, they put on a good show, and they are the most loyal racers that you'll find. They just really are, and good people. Like, I don't want to, just point out one more than the others, but off the top of my head, Jennifer Kidd, she's constantly promoting our track and her class and does a super great job at it. And it's just, that's how loyal a bunch of people are in that class, and it's great.
Yep. Ray, kind of back to the late models, we were sitting there talking about kind of while you were on the break right there. I know with late models, the big motors and all that, but and again, I'm taking out this disclosure part that I am in the crate motor business, but I really think for late model to grow this thing around here, I really think that a crate late model thing like what you guys do. Owen's trying to grow his series. I think that's really the way to go to make this affordable and get this thing to where it needs to be right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Crate engines. It's a more acceptable now, I feel like. But in the beginning, it was a bitter deal, but now I think people totally realize the value of a crate engine for cost and performance.
Hey, Ray, one of the things we were talking about, what was the decision to move the Redneck Stress Relief to the beginning of the season versus the end of the season? One of my things would be about the track getting tore up, but what was the decision for you and Michael to move that up to the beginning of the year?
We did a shitty job promoting it at the end of last year. And we just didn't do a good job, point blank, man. I'm a big enough man to accept fault when I need to. And we just didn't do a good enough job. It wasn't going to be very successful. And then I think the weather ended up kind of anyway, so we got lucky there. But we've got the flyer ready for this one, and we've got a bunch of plans in place. It's going to be good. It's going to be wild. It's going to get a little Western.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're pulling up that schedule right there. Kind of talk about some of the highlights there for you. I think it's a really cool thing that you go out and you talk about, obviously that one, but the total eclipse of the race on April 6th, that's fucking genius. The Dirt Kings and Natty 30, the Sweaty Balls too. Kind of talking about all that, the whole year, what you guys are doing right there at 37, man. You guys are doing shit that's going to pull people in.
We're trying to come up with some themes for each night because it makes it a little more entertaining and fun when you can, do some fun shit. The Redneck Stress Relief, it's going to be a blast all night. But the Natty 30, we've got some really cool stuff planned for that. Brian Harbison, his big push on that. We've got a big night planned for that. We got cases of beer as trophy. And we got all kinds of stuff for beer planned themed for that night. Sweaty balls, that's like the kickoff of summer, so they're hot as shit. Your balls gonna be sweating if you don't have none. You just touch some and they'll be sweaty, I promise.
Oh my God. Ray, I gotta tell you, you guys with fireballs, I want to win a fucking case of beer. Put me in a fireball. Let me go out there and race. And if I don't win, I'll get one by consolation. Man, I love that stuff. Sorry, Bobby, had to jump in on that.
I'm sure somebody's got a fireball for you that can let you in.
Come on, we got a cool deal that Johnny Torres and I are working on this year for fireballs. We're taking my fireball and we're gonna raffle some spots, around 10 spots or so. And if your number wins, you get to drive that, keep the winnings and everything.
Ooh, man, I'll give that back. I will give that back. Talk about the regular stuff, man. We were talking about late models. Let's talk about the regular classes that you have. And the good thing about it is with you, Ray, out there, man, you've got a good contingent of people that kind of bounce between Corpus and Texana and your place. Kind of talk about the regular classes, man. Give folks an idea what all is heading back to 37 this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, we got sport compacts returning, factory stocks, the great factory stock class. We have a lot of factory stocks in our area. They support every week. Fireballs, limited mods are coming back. We gave off limited mods a few nights so that we could work with Owen. He's getting limited mods on a few nights, and then he's giving them off a couple nights to help us too. And then you got a copy?
Yep, we got you.
I got you.
All right, and then we got, check it out, great news, and everybody knows it by now, but modifieds, we got the STEM series coming, and I'm super excited about the STEMs. It was a little touch and go there for a while, man, but we figured it out and pulled it off. And I think that if we don't have 16 to 18 cars minimum modifieds a night at all the racetracks, I'll be disappointed. And I've reached out to a lot of modified guys. I put a whole group messenger together and called them out, and they've all stepped up and said that they're in. They're all in, and they're coming.
Love it.
And then, of course, the badass late models.
That's right.
You're going to get your money's worth with late models, I promise.
No doubt.
Oh, is it on me now? Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
So Ray, talk about you talked about all the different classes you got, and I think you've got your twinkle in your eye for the late model class, which is fine because those cars are badass and will definitely put on a show. You mentioned the STEM series and said it was touch and go. I think that you guys had somewhat of a successful IMCA modified program down there to begin with, but the ability to kind of let go of the class a little bit and let it travel for the greater good of all the racetracks in South Texas, I think is really cool. But talk a little bit more about how that came together in terms of getting the STEM stuff ready to go.
Well, the gambling side of me will say that we had all the cards. We had the better cards in our hand, because we have the bigger nucleus of the modifieds. But we don't want to be selfish, and we wanted to see something get better because as a whole in our region, it needed to get better. So we felt like we needed to be involved. We needed to do our part. We needed to come together and make it. So give up a few nights of modifieds. It is what it is, but hopefully we can grow modifieds in South Texas. That's the goal.
Yep. All right, Ray. So break it down for us, man. Thank you for being a part of this tonight. So Test and Tune coming up on March the 2nd. I mean, that's less than a month away. And then you guys, March 9th and the 23rd. I mean, everything's starting to happen right there. Break down the season. Tell folks how to be a part of that and how to jump on the 37 bandwagon, man. I love what you guys are doing out there.
Yeah, for sure. We got season coming fast. We actually added a practice February 25th on a Sunday afternoon. And then March 2nd is another one. Then we kick off our first race, Spring Green, March 9th. But, man, if I could just take a couple just quick minutes, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I really want to thank a couple people. I got to thank a couple people, and I don't normally do it on your show, and I need to do it. Mike Fortier is a volunteer, and he has helped us tremendously in the tower and our software for our West Hold and transponders and, all my race pass and stuff. And I really want to give him some credit, and I hope other people that show up to the track realize what he does. He's an old man, so he's grouchy, but he's done a lot for us, and I want to recognize him. Cammie Peterson, she's behind the scenes. Not a lot of people know her. The amount of time she puts in without pay, because she's volunteering, she wants to see racing successful, is tremendous. Everything you see on Facebook is pretty much all her. So, and she's doing other stuff for us that goes unseen. Check out for NASCAR races. We got our own commercials coming out on the next 2 months of NASCAR races. So look for our commercials. And if you see them, let us know. Hit us up on Facebook or Messenger or at the track. Call us, whatever, and check it out. They turned out pretty cool thanks to Race on Texas. Something different's going on our track this year. Chris Anderson, he's going up in the tower. He's going to run the show from the tower. So you're going to have a lot more authority. We're gonna speed the show up. Got rid of go-karts. That's a good situation, but it's gonna speed the show up. So come racing at I-37 Speedway. Our goal is to get the races done sooner. See, if you want to go home, you go home. If you want to drink beer, you drink beer. Hopefully the fish will grow in the stock pond that's new, and you get some fish. You can do some midnight fishing.
That's what I'm talking about. And isn't that the thing, Ray? I mean, you're talking about right there. I see Chris checking in. I mean, and I'm glad you talk about those folks because, man, you got to have a staff. I mean, you got to have a staff of people that, like you said, they work tirelessly. They're not making millions of dollars doing this shit, man. They just love the sport and they make this stuff happen. And a lot of times it's like at the end of the night, you're like, man, we fucked up this, and this, but nobody ever even realizes the things that may have happened that night.
Yeah, for sure, and it just amazes me their dedication to us, Mike and Cammy, and there's others. Don't get me wrong, right? But the amount of extra hours that I know about that they put in on non-race days is awesome, freaking awesome. I can tell you right now, if it wasn't for them two, I bailed. I'd have left Mike.
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Good stuff, Ray.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
for checking in, my man. Hopefully, Crate Racing USA. We'll keep working on that. Kind of put me in the middle of that, and let's see what we can come up with there, my man.
Yeah, we're looking at putting on a huge crate late model race at the end of the year. I'm talking a good one.
Love it.
So if you know anybody or got some contacts and people that love late models like I do and want to see it go, hit me up. Let me know because we're going to do it.
Yep.
I'm
Looking
spending my
forward to it.
kids' inheritance. I don't care.
Holy moly. That's a racing man right there. That is a racing man right there. Ray, thank you for jumping on, man. Appreciate you working through everything with us. Good luck this year. We'll see you soon, brother.
Yeah, man. Sorry I had glitches. I appreciate y'all's time and what y'all do for the sport. See you later.
It's all good, man. Take care.
Take it easy, Ray.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.
There he goes, Ray Doyon, the one and only Ray Doyon, doing only what Ray does. I got to tell you, man, you got to love the fire. You got to love the fire in that dude right there, and they really have. I mean, they've done a really good job there at 37, kind of building everything up and doing what. I mean, that place was left out for dead a long time ago, and they've done a great job to build that thing up, and like with the fireballs, with all of that. I mean, it really is. I mean, it seems like everything is on the uptick, like so many tracks around Texas, Bobby. It seems like whether we talk about in South Texas, and this is kind of more south because the North Texas stuff is man, that they've been thriving. But down here, I mean, with the Race Ranch and with Texana, with Marianne, or with Cotton Bowl, and all these tracks, I mean, damn it, dude, I think we're in for some really good things coming up in 2024.
I think so. I think the STEM series is going to be the really under the radar thing that's going to make some big news. I mean, the fact that we have a chance to announce races where now we go from 5 to 6 big mods up to the chance of announcing races with 20 of them. That's pretty kick ass. That can lead to a hell of a lot of fun.
Yep. That's exactly right. By the way, guys, I do want to tell you about a new partner that I have right here on Revved Up and actually going to be on Dirty Air as well. This is my man, Marcus Mendoza. He is over in Lockhart. I know that Shane Turner does a really good job of helping folks out when they're trying to get stuff to racetracks and so forth, trying to pick up race cars and all this stuff right here. Dozer Transport LLC, 995-0036. That's that 512 number. He's over in Lockhart. There is your email address right there, Dozer Transport LLC m@yahoo.com. Marcus, longtime friend of mine. He has the rigs that will get your stuff where it needs to go. So check in with him if you're trying to get stuff places. A Dwarf car may show up for me at some point. So really cool stuff right there from him as well. Let's hear from some of our other great partners. Of course, you heard him right here last week on Revved Up. It is our man, Justin Long with Generation Race Cars.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here with the Revved Up Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to victory lane with Team GRC?
Hashtag Real Race Talk. We are back. It is the Revved Up Sports Show on your Monday night. Bobby, great conversation right there with Ray and, of course, with Jason from the Lone Star Dwarf Car Club. A couple of different other racing notes. Man, Doug Rice stepping away. How about that, dude? Kind of
36 years is a long time, though.
Man, I tell you, I kind of heard that maybe he was because he runs PRN. I mean, I think a lot of folks don't realize that Performance Racing Network. I mean, that is Doug Rice's thing. I mean, he's the president of that thing. So maybe kind of taking a step back to just kind of oversee things right there. But that's one of those voices where it's going to be weird to not have that on some of those NASCAR races.
Yeah, it's going to be different for sure. But I mean, the thing is, we're seeing a changing of the guard at some levels. You still got the same core group of NASCAR reporters that have been doing it for years that are still there around. But we've also come to see the next generation potentially coming up here with the next generation of play-by-play and reporters and stuff like that. So, obviously, SiriusXM has made some personnel changes. They need to make some more changes on the daytime lineup and get rid of some of these classic races in the afternoon, because that's not real fun to listen to. But
yeah, I know they're sitting there trying to work on all of that, and I will say, I mean, because it very much is. I mean, when it comes to NASCAR media, NASCAR reporting, it very much is it's a country club type of thing. I mean, they've got their own people. I mean, it's their own thing. I mean, I think drivers and owners and whatever, they're very comfortable talking to the same people. And we see that over and over. And, I know a lot of folks, I mean, I listen to Channel 90, I listen to Danielle Trotta is actually the main one that I want to listen to. But it's because she is kind of one of those to where she'll pull some punches. She's not so much, she doesn't walk the company line quite as much as some of those people do. And then, and I know that's part of the thing. I mean, when you're working for MRN, when you're working for NASCAR, you have to do that. But Dave does a really good job to where he can, he can kind of walk off the company line as well. But I mean, they're making some changes there that I think that they need to make. I mean, no offense to some of the folks that aren't there anymore, but I mean, some of the voices that you don't hear anymore, I think it's kind of one of those things to where it's like when we talk about Jerry Jones being kind of not so much a part of the Dallas Cowboys, I kind of like some of the moves that I'm seeing on SiriusXM channel 90.
Yeah, they need to make a few more changes, but I mean, I think part of it's just the consistency of it. You get so used to a regular. It's no different than when they changed the weekend lineup for us on the Horn. You just get so used to a lineup that's supposed to be there, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and it's not, and usually not given any explanation on why. But it's usually a good thing to know why. You'd like to know why, but you never just know, man. It's a very very interesting way all this is set up now. So
Yeah, and I didn't hear. I mean, I wasn't listening to the app or anything on Saturday with the Clash and all that. I don't know who was in the place of Claire B. Lang. I don't know who did any of that. And again, I'll be real honest with you. I think a lot of the Claire B. Lang was a little bit too much. It's like, okay, I mean, in the pre-race, she's told me this already. I don't need to hear it again. I don't know what they're doing with all of that. But again, they're trying to mainstream that because it's, I mean, you have to shift that stuff around. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who's doing what. But I got to tell you, and Mike Knott's checking in, I got to tell you, when it comes to dudes, and this is a guy that has evolved with the way that the media has. Jackie Arute is one of those guys to where you go back and you can listen to Jack 30 years ago. And Jack was one of those old school racing dudes. You listen to him now, and he's going to bust your balls just like he does in a very good way, with the way that racing is these days.
yeah, no, it's gonna be. He's Uncle Jackie's really fun to listen to when he fills in for Dave Moody every now and then because Dave will put people in their place in a nice way sometimes, but he still toes that company line. But Dave's a good guy. If you want to find out how good of a guy he is, check out the archives there on the website. There was a chance that one night Rodney and I got to talk shop with him on this particular show. So when you get a chance, go through the archives, see what all you got. You'd be surprised you might all you hear.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. A lot of good stuff right there. RevvedUpSportsShow.com. Go all the way below the live show, and you can hear all the archives. All right, Bobby, before we get out of here, got to go down this road. We're probably going to lose everybody, but I'm extremely pissed off with the Formula One thing with the Andrettis. The whole reason that was given for this. You sit and you watch. It's the same fucking 3 cars every time at the front of the pack. To say that the Andretti livery, the Andretti entry, whatever, may not be competitive enough. Who is? 3.
Yeah, right?
3 of them are competitive enough. You got 3 of them, and I say that very loosely because it's one that's competitive enough. But the fact, and then the whole thing is where they totally, I mean, to me, Bobby, they cast shade at the Andretti name, and that's bullshit. I'm sorry. I mean, let's take out the fact that you and I have talked to Mario and different. I can call his office, and I ask for him, and he's like, Rodney, take that part out of there. And I'm name dropping right there. Yeah, I am, because I fucking love that dude. Give me a break. I mean, one more owner into the 10-man or whatever you want to call it, owners club. That is the biggest crock of shit that I have ever seen in motorsports. That I don't know if I'm going to watch Formula One this year, dude. That really pissed me off.
The pie doesn't get any bigger when you add on an 11th owner, so that's part of the problem. They can say that Andretti gets, of course, Andretti's going to get more benefit from Formula One than Formula One's going to get a benefit from Andretti. Where Formula One may be underestimating the power of Andretti is the number of more eyeballs it can get from the United States in terms of having a real U.S.-based Formula One team, versus Haas over there, who, that's going to be his only way in is to buy Haas.
Well, that one's competitive. I mean, Andretti's not going to be competitive. Haas is competitive, isn't he?
No, not very much. Yeah, no, not Williams isn't that competitive anymore, but they got that Williams F1 name.
Oh, and then you got the American right there, and that's what pisses me off the worst. And looking at the way everything happened last week, I've watched that Netflix thing all the way up until the final one. I haven't watched that one yet, but this is where, if I'm an American fan of Formula One, I'm like, come on, man. These people are sitting here poaching, getting you people to dive into this stuff. And here, the Andretti, 1978 world champion, for crying out loud. I mean, come on. Even if he ain't competitive, you are sitting here dipping into the American market. Fuck, you got 3 races happening in this country right now in some of the biggest markets: Austin, Las Vegas, and Miami. And you're going to shut these people out? I mean, it would be one thing, Bobby, if it were you and I trying to pull a team together with a bunch of deep pockets, but Andretti? Come on, man. That's insulting to me. I mean,
you think it's because his IndyCar program isn't up to par comparatively? I think if he was winning races in IndyCar like Chip Ganassi, you think they'd open up the door?
I don't think so. I mean, I think this is an inside thing right there to where they don't want them to be a part of it, because I think what they are seriously concerned that you get the Andretti's into Formula One with. I've seen them dipping into Chicago, Bobby. I have seen Formula One trying to get trademarks into Chicago, trying to maybe dabble in that market as well, maybe a fourth race. What happens when you get the Andretti name into Formula One and then they really dive into the United States? Where are people going to want to be? I mean, they're going to want to dive into that. And that's where that whole club, they're going to lose some money. And I think it's a sham. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. And I'm sorry. That one, it takes a lot to really piss me off. But when I saw that, and the whole thing is, Michael has busted his ass to make this happen. And you know what they did? They did the old high school tease thing. They're like, okay, yeah, come on. And then boom. Nope, maybe in 28. I'm like, fuck you. I'm putting my money in IndyCar if I'm them. I mean, go to IndyCar. I mean, just spend your money there if I'm them. I mean, screw that shit. Oh, God. Oh,
Because you know, GM wants into Formula One because Ford's coming.
I know. And that's where, I mean, when you look
and
at
that Ford ain't going to be building that engine. All that's going to be is a Red Bull Racing Technology Honda engine with a Ford sticker on it.
And the worst part was, when you go back and you read that whole release, the name would not bring value to the series. Come on, man. That's like, how about if AJ Foyt wanted to start a NASCAR team? No, we're not going to bring him in. His name wouldn't bring any value to the series. Give me a break, dude. This is an inside thing, man. They are purposely trying to put these guys out. And again, it would be one thing, you know, if Logan Sargent was out here burning down the track and doing all this other shit, I'd be like, okay, you know, Williams, I mean, they're doing a good job. They want to be the American presence, or maybe Haas. They want to be the American presence. They fucking suck too. So I don't know. And then that's the whole thing about this. That's where last week to me was so interesting. So you had all of that happening with the Netflix thing dropping, and you had a lot of folks watching that, and NASCAR kind of trying to dip into that as well. I still say NASCAR's too late to the party with that, because Formula One beat them to it, although the NASCAR thing is better. But so you have that happening. Then you have the Andretti thing happening. And then, well, I'll be damned, Lewis Hamilton is going to Ferrari in 2025.
I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things to where, and this is where the new Formula One race fans in America don't understand, to where I'm like, go watch IndyCar racing. Dive into IndyCar racing. Give your love to IndyCar racing. They're totally going to be bought into Checo Perez and Charles Leclerc. And I'll tell you the story's going to be now. I mean, what is Carlos Sainz going to do? You know, now that Carlos Sainz is going to be out of a job, what's he going to do? I mean, that's going to be the big story now. And people are just going to continue buying into that. And I'm on that boat where I'm like, I'm extremely pissed and disappointed in Formula One. I mean, you can't leave the Andretti's out for those reasons. Not competitive. Lots of them that aren't competitive. The name brings no validity. What? Come on, man.
You must have read Eddie. He must have read Eddie Gossage's tweet. Took it to heart.
No, I didn't. I just read the statement. I just read what they said, and that's what did he say? Damn it! I wish I could pull that up.
That's what he said. Basically, the same thing you did.
Well, we're old bitter dudes. We are old bitter dudes. To me, the biggest insult to me is the name brings nothing. That I mean, to see Mario Andretti tweet out, "I'm devastated." Dude, that's like a kick in the balls. Jeez Louise, man.
He's got some good stuff there. He's talking about, you got to go back and check the page, his tweet page, or X, whatever the hell you want to call it now. He's got some stuff about TWS versus TMS.
Oh, who does? Eddie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. I will have to check that out. But yeah, I thought that was pretty shitty. So anyway, back to the Clash. Where do you go with that, Bobby? I mean, back to Daytona. Do you take it abroad? Do you take it or just get rid of it. I mean, that's the other thing. I heard Denny Hamlin talking about I saw something on his detrimental thing to where it's like, just get rid of it and let us test more at Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea. But TV's not going to want to get rid of a free race like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. That's eyeballs on the sport. Once again, there is your QR code if you want to dive into the Revved Up Sports Show site. Hit that little thing right there. It'll take you right there. Here is the spot to go to on-demand shirts. Like I said, you're going to have your online store set up very, very soon to where you'll be able to get all that stuff. I've got in my trunk, I've got Revved Up caps and T-shirts and all this stuff. So hopefully, I think my first night out is going to be March 1st and 2nd, I think it is. I'll be at South Texas Race Ranch for that one as those schedules continue to come out and lots of cool things happening. Hey, I mentioned on Facebook that we were going to have a very special national anthem. I missed it at the beginning because we dove in and we're doing all these different things. How about we end the show with the national anthem? Take a look who our special guest is tonight.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets breaking the bombs bursting in air. Give proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
Little Taylor. Wow.
I guess she's going from Japan back to the Super Bowl, isn't she?
Yeah, she's going. I was looking today. I mean, there are so many prop bets that you can look at on what's going to happen right there. I didn't see anything to where she may jump on stage with what's his name, but lots of different ones. If you want to make a little bit of cash, you can dive on and do that stuff. But anyway, old Taylor, we had her before she was famous. God damn it. How about that?
How about that?
Good old Taylor. All right, guys. Thank you all for being a part of the program tonight. This has been one hell of a lot of fun sitting here talking about the Busch Light Clash, sitting here talking about Formula One, talking about dirt late models. Of course, we had the Lone Star Dwarf Car Series, Jason Bellows checking in. Be sure and follow them on Facebook. Lots of big events that they have coming up. And, of course, our man Ray Doyon from I-37 Speedway. They're getting fired off and getting ready to go. Practice coming up first weekend of March, and they are off and rolling. Bobby, rest of the week, what you up to, my man?
Just playing a little catch up from the birthday stuff. And then, I don't know, after that.
Nice.
Got to get ready to go to a Super Bowl party at your place and then get ready for the Daytona 500.
That's right. Daytona 500 coming up. All right, you guys, be sure and like the page.
Oh, speaking of gambling, free of charge, we should have the Revved Up Nation NASCAR Fantasy League back up and running here in the next couple of hours to the next couple of days.
That's right. We will get that posted up here so you guys can be a part of that as well. If you want to check in and do that, lots of cool stuff right there as we'll dive in and, yeah, just kind of have a lot of fun with this stuff. Again, a big thanks to On Demand Shirts, Rogers Dabs, GM Performance, Computer Age Automotive, my man Marcus Mendoza there with Dozer Transportation. They will hook you up on all of your travels. Bobby, have a great week, my man. We will do it again next Monday. Hashtag Real Race Talk from Texas. This has been and will always be the one and only Revved Up Sports Show. Have a great weekend, friends.